Whew, we got a banger here. This thing is no joke. We got the Sembylon Valkyrie. Now, I know what you guys are thinking. You guys are probably thinking, wait a second, isn't that equal? Isn't that kind of like the Geo one like this or like this? And yes and no, it's kind of the same thing. There are subtle differences. I believe this one is just an upgraded version of that, even though they have different names. There's some stuff on here that seems to be metal comparison to that, vice versa. But still, this thing absolutely rocks. If you guys are curious on where we got it, check it down in the description if you guys are curious. Let's take a look inside the box here. So right on the box, it looks good. Valkyrie right on it, 14 plus, and you guys will see why here in a little bit. Once we open it up, there is a ton of goodies in here. Some of it I thought was extras, but it's not. You do get the small black suppressor. I wish it was orange. Now, I thought this was just a push-on suppressor, but it is actually a ball-bearing scar suppressor, so use it if you're going to use it, but color it something nicer. You do have the front forward grip. You have, of course, the magazine, the spring, the inner kind of barrel shaft, as well as a really, really nice kind of red dot scope up there. Now, when I opened this thing up, I thought that shaft was a different barrel and that spring was like an upgraded spring for this blaster. But unfortunately, those are actually all needed to go together here on this particular blaster. But let's look at this thing close up in the hands. Whew, look at that thing. It looks so good, almost to the point where it is almost realistic, right? If you had an orange tip, sure, but that black and gray, oh gosh, it looks too realistic in the hands, but it sure feels super, super premium. And just shooting it, I was like, man, this thing just feels so solid and so good. The only thing that I can compare this to, I think, in terms of quality would probably be the Dart Zone Pro MK 1.1. And, even that is a good blaster, but man, the plastic on that, is a little, it makes a lot of noise. And this comparison to that is just night and day. This just feels so solid with this plastic, this thicker plastic injection molding, whatever they use on here. It just feels so good. It has a little bit of weight to it. So let's just go over some of the accessories here, as this thing takes about 5 minutes to put together. Right on the front, again, that Nerfy ball bearing scar barrel. You guys know my take on scar barrels. We did the S200, the fire route. We put a ball bearing scar barrel on there, and that thing, I mean, it improved accuracy quite a bit. So I do believe in the ball bearing scar barrel for sure working. So yeah, it's not that bad. Red dot scope up here, it is huge, but it looks really, really good, and it actually works in a sense that it does light up, right? You can't adjust it up, down, left, or right, but it does light up a green, and it does look pretty cool. I mean, on the blaster, again, it kind of goes for almost that too realistic of a look there, but still, it just looks freaking good. The back here has an adjustable stock. This does have 3 positions, so you guys can kind of put it to whatever you guys see fit. For me, I tend to put it on the farthest position out. It just seems the most comfortable when I'm shooting and gives me a little bit of a look down the actual red dot. Anything closer, you just almost have to just run and gun. The front grip, whew, it feels good. It's solid on there. It's a solid piece of, injected plastic. It doesn't feel cheap. It doesn't feel too heavy. Gives a nice prime. So yeah, that front grip, and it is a Picatinny rail up there too, so you can put all your favorite, kind of grips up there. I think what makes this thing nice is underneath, kind of right behind the grip, you do have that spring in that barrel, where the spring kind of helps return, when you prime it, it helps return it back forward, which I think is kind of nice. It gives it an extra kickback, makes the prime, I don't know, makes it feel more lively, a little less harder to pull. In essence, it's actually a little bit tougher, but it actually makes it feel quite lively. The magazines, this is a 20-round magazine, and the disappointing part about this is it is not compatible with the worker mags. When I looked at these, I was like, oh yeah, it's going to be compatible. They look really close. They look really good, but if you look here, you can see it's slightly bigger, and the tip or the top, like those curved portions, are not the same. On the worker ones, they're kind of more flared out to the side. As comparison to this, it's just more straight up. So I could even get one of the mags to go in there from another blaster, which kind of stinks. So I might have to order a few more of these, but they are 20 rounds, which is awesome. I would like to see maybe a 10 or something like that. The 20 might be a little much, but I think a 10 would be awesome. This does actually kind of remind me too of the Pathfinder, so I'll throw that up here. I mean, with kind of that angled mag going out that way, it reminds me of the Pathfinder. But I mean, the Pathfinder has nothing on this thing. It is not even remotely close. So let's go in the backyard and kind of shoot this thing. Whew. You guys, this thing is shooting about 150 FPS, and it is accurate. It's right on par with my kind of Worker Swift, where the Worker Swift with that extension barrel is super accurate. This thing is super accurate. One of the things I had to do when I got this, though, is I had to put a little more lubrication grease inside the back plunger tube back there and on some of the O-rings. It didn't have a lot when I first got it, so some of my shots weren't all that consistent. But after I did that, this thing was super consistent. And you can see, I mean, it's just right down every single time. Now, if we switch views here, I'm just going to take a few shots towards you so you guys can kind of hear and see. And I'm not even using the sight. I'm just kind of lining it up just, you know, the tip of the barrel. And you can see I'm actually hitting the camera and I'm hitting the stuff. And it's almost, I mean, I hit it, I think, 3 times back to back just to kind of say, hey, look, this thing is, man, this thing is super accurate. And I think it's going to be a blaster that I'm going to see, you know, probably all over the battlefield. I don't know if they make this version of the Valkyrie in different colors yet. I was offered this because another blaster was not available, and I was like, yeah, sure, send me this one instead. But there you go, guys. You know, go back if you guys want to watch that. This thing shoots phenomenally well. Now, I mean, overall, guys, this thing is a super premium product. There's not many blasters that I could say it feels like this, like where it's just, it's kind of heavy, it's well built, the stuff that needs to be aluminum is aluminum, and it just feels really well. The Worker Swift is one of the things, like I said, that I can kind of compare to this level of performance, but this by far is just far more compact. The Swift, again, is great. If you guys want to check that out there, that thing was shooting some absolutely laser beams on stuff. But I feel like with how light this is and how compact it is, I could see a lot of people wanting to use this blaster for, you know, like milsim type stuff. But, man, the darts that come with this are these kind of these black and oranges. They're almost like a bamboo type dart. They have a weird tip on it. I've never seen a tip like that before where it has like a line across. Those shot great. Those shot about 150 FPS. I ended up shooting just my Worker Gen 3 white so you guys can kind of see it, which is roughly about the same FPS. But I've never seen these darts this type of head before. So I don't know if it's, you know, it's something specific to the Valkyrie line or what. But still, guys, yeah, this thing absolutely rocks. You know, again, the release the mag, it's pretty straightforward. Just push this little, you know, this little release here right in front of the trigger, and it drops out. It's, gosh, guys, I cannot stress enough how awesome this is. And I like being able to review blasters like this, as well as a lot with the other kind of just random blasters you don't hear about, because this, I mean, if this was like mass produced here in, you know, here in the States, this would be a top contender. People would be shooting this thing absolutely no problem. Now, I know what you're saying. Oh, what about the Nexus Pro? Wouldn't I just get a Nexus Pro instead of this? I mean, you can, but the Nexus Pro has that, it has that plastic feeling, that non-premium feeling, where I feel like this is just, it just feels premium. It feels like it's well built. It's meant for hard play. It is meant for going out and just really pushing yourself. But I get it. This is, you know, 3 or 2.5 of the Nexus Pros. I get it. But, you know, when you put a Nexus Pro up against this, you could see, I mean, the quality of this is what you pay for comparison to, you know, like a Nexus Pro. Still good. Don't get me wrong. But overall, guys, a sweet blaster with the ball bearing, you know, with the ball bearing scar up here and everything as well built as it is. This thing's an absolute just beast, just an absolute fun little plinker. I don't like the colors because it reminds me of a real firearm, but still they'll probably offer more, or if they might even offer more currently that don't look like, you know, like a real firearm. Anyways, that is the first look at this particular blaster. Let me know what you guys think. Thanks again, Fox fans.